Nothing says Thanksgiving like some wholesome anime, and I'm here to give you guys 10, plus an extra, anime that are wholesome from different categories to give you some suggestions for anime to watch during this Thanksgiving season. So with no particular order given to it, let's jump right into it. For our first category we have is Fatherhood, and nothing speaks to this better for me than Bunny Drop. This is a series where a guy who is about 30 years old loses his grandfather and then comes to find out that his grandfather had a daughter recently. And while nobody will take this girl in, he decides to bring her in and adopt her and take care of her. Yes, he's taking care of his aunt. But there's a lot of wholesomeness in this series. Just make sure to stay away from that manga. For our next category we have is Motherhood. And this comes to a title that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is Hanasaki Roha. This is a series that is just full of so much heart, and yes, a lot of laughs and goofiness as well, but it really kind of, most of the core story centers around a girl who's abandoned by her mother, but over time you'll kind of get a perspective of what's going on with the mother and the relationship the two of them have and if they can mend it. For our next wholesome anime category, we have Isekai. And I can't think of another Isekai with more heart in it than A Sentence of a Bookworm. This is basically a series where a girl is isekai'd into another world, into the body of a girl named Mine, and this girl is very sickly. But you'll find out really quickly that there's so much warmth in the family that she's isekai'd into, as she's surrounded by a mother and a father who cares deeply for her, and over time, the bonds that she shares with that family. All while trying to get a book, because I mean, that's technically the center focus of the story, is her trying to make a book. For our next category we have is The New Family. This is a category with 3 titles in it that all center around the concept of somebody coming into a new family. Obviously, Summer Wars, I think that's one of the most family-oriented anime out there, and that basically centers around a guy who ends up kind of getting roped into a family reunion or family celebration by a girl, and he's faking to be her boyfriend. And I think the family that he ends up kind of encountering is just full of so many weird quirks, but in the center of the whole thing is his grandmother, and the kind of experiences they have together is definitely wholesome, and it was such a heartwarming experience to go through that movie. Next one's kind of obvious, and that's Fruits Basket. This series is kind of just has so much heart in it. Toru Honda is just heart incarnate. Everything about her is about wholesome, it's about love, it's about cherishing others. And I think even though the series does get heavy here and there, and is technically a long-running series, Toru Honda ends up being like the center point to so many broken people and becomes the thing that kind of melds them together as a family. The next one in this category is March Comes In Like a Lion. Now this one's a series that can be very depressing. This is a series that definitely goes in dark places with the main character. Because he's alone, he feels depressed. He's kind of separated from other people. He feels isolated. He's a shogi player that pretty much doesn't have anything around him. But the thing that makes it so wholesome and so family-oriented is over time you end up finding out that there's this other family across the creek from him that kind of brings him in and welcomes him with open arms. And every moment you have with his other family is very precious. And it's stuff that every time it happened, you felt that warmth. And he describes that warmth that he faces. And the way that it's portrayed and how it pulls him out of the darkness that he's in is rewarding every single time. I really do hope the series gets more. For our next category we have is Distant Family. This is a series called Flying Witch. And Flying Witch is just special. It's pretty much in the realm of Yashike. It has this girl who pretty much goes to visit a distant family, and she stays with them, and we come to find out that she's actually a witch, and she practices different magic. And it's a very laid-back anime. It's not trying to push any heavy drama or anything. It's just very laid-back, very relaxing, and a very warm experience. On to our next category, we have Villages Raise the Kid. This is Nanan Biori. Nanan Biori is very special. It's a series that essentially follows a bunch of girls who live in this very out-in-the-sticks location, Japan, and they find the most entertaining things out of nothing. It's a bunch of bored kids just trying to find anything that will entertain them. And it definitely has a lot of sense of family. Even though there's a lot of sense of friendships, it's a lot of sense of these girls coming together and having fun together, while at the same time, every now and then, dealing with family relations, as well as, like I mentioned before, the concept that the village itself is the family. Things like the candy shop owner who takes care of Renge. It's very fun, it's very cute, and it's very wholesome. All right, it's time to move on to the weird stuff, because I have to have it in here. It's a lot of fun. Let's just go with it. Our next category is Stockholm Syndrome. This is the family through forced encounter. And we have Happy Sugar Life. Yes, family through forced encounter. Happy Sugar Life basically follows a girl who's obsessed with this other girl, and so she basically takes her into her home and takes care of her and protects her in a very yandere way, and eventually creating that bond through forced interaction. It's a weird show. Next is Little Sisters. Yes, you've guessed it, Orimo. It's definitely a wholesome series. It's definitely about brothers and sisters coming together, feeling that love and bonds through essentially him helping her with her otaku nature. And you can never find a more loving relationship between siblings than Orimo. And finally, our last category is ecchi. Yes, it's going downhill from here. I don't know what you guys are expecting here. But yes, nothing says love and relationship like My Wife is a Student Council President. It's very wholesome. It's on Crunchyroll. You can definitely check it out there. The bonds and relationship between these two while they're still in school is fantastic. And it's definitely not safe for work. But anyways, that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed this very wholesome anime list for your Thanksgiving viewing pleasure. As always, if you like this video, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you thought of this list. If there's anything I'm missing, definitely include it down there. Subscribe if you haven't already, share this video if you can, support us on Patreon if you can, or in the tips link in the description below, and y'all take care.